Welcome back to Mental Hive. Psychology, the realm of understanding mind and behavior, continues to unfold captivating revelations about the human condition. Hold tight as we navigate through 10 psychologically intriguing phenomena that might just illuminate aspects of your own behavior or that of others. Single stories stir more compassion than statistics. Human empathy often operates on a surprisingly personal and individual level, and this can be seen with the identifiable victim effect. This psychological phenomenon describes how we, as humans, are more likely to empathize and offer aid when we are presented with a single identifiable individual who is suffering, as opposed to large, anonymous groups represented by mere statistics. Our brains are hardwired for storytelling, and when we hear the unique narrative of an individual, their struggles, their sorrows, their hopes, we connect to them on a deeper emotional level. These personal narratives invoke a stronger emotional response than abstract numbers, no matter how alarming those numbers might be. Individual, human stories, organizations can more effectively motivate people to act, whether it's to donate to a cause, change a behavior, or purchase a product. Powerful recall at the beginnings and ends. Ever struggled to recall items on your grocery list, only to remember the first and last items clearly? You're experiencing the serial position effect, a memory phenomenon that prioritizes the beginning and end of a list, while the middle items tend to blur. This cognitive quirk could also be why you vividly recall the closing remarks of your boss's presentation, but the middle seems to fade into oblivion. This effect is actually a combination of two separate phenomena: the primacy effect and the recency effect. The primacy effect is our ability to recall items at the beginning of a list or sequence due to the greater amount of time available to encode and store these items in long-term memory. On the other hand, the recency effect refers to our ability to remember items at the end of a list or sequence because they are still fresh in our short-term memory. Plan B may undermine Plan A. The concept that having a Plan B could potentially undermine the success of Plan A is intriguing and counterintuitive. We often create backup plans as a safety net, providing us comfort in knowing that we have alternatives if our initial plan doesn't work out. However, research suggests that these safety nets may, paradoxically, reduce our motivation and chances of achieving our primary goal. This interesting psychological phenomenon is rooted in the principle of expectancy theory, which suggests that individuals are more motivated to complete a task when they expect to succeed. When we create a Plan B, it may inadvertently signal to our subconscious that there's a likelihood of failure in Plan A, which may decrease our overall motivation and effort. The weight of negativity. Do you notice how a single negative event can overshadow several positive ones? That's your brain's negativity bias at work. It's no secret that negative experiences seem to have a greater impact on our minds than positive ones. This bias can impact our day-to-day lives in numerous ways. It can color our perception of ourselves and our interactions with others, often causing us to dwell more on our failures and setbacks than our successes. For instance, a single negative comment on a piece of work can overshadow numerous positive ones. Similarly, a negative event can have a much more lasting impact on our mood and stress levels than a positive event of similar magnitude. To combat this inclination, aim for a ratio of 5 positive experiences to offset one negative occurrence. This deliberate practice of gratitude may just help you attract more joy into your life. Certainty of bad news over uncertainty. What's worse, knowing something bad is coming or the suspense of the unknown. Many people, it turns out, prefer the certainty of impending bad news over the stressful unpredictability. The anticipation can send our brains into overdrive, cycling through numerous potential outcomes, both positive and negative. This inclination is rooted in our inherent desire for control and predictability. When faced with the unknown, our brain goes into overdrive, trying to calculate all potential outcomes to protect us from harm. This activity can lead to significant mental and emotional strain. The irresistible urge to squish cute things. Have you ever come across something so adorable, such as a fluffy puppy or a cute baby, that you felt an irresistible urge to squeeze it? If you have, you're not alone. This is a phenomenon known as cute aggression, a term coined by researchers at Yale University in 2015. While it may sound like an odd reaction, it's actually more common than you might think, and there's a scientific explanation behind it. Cute aggression occurs as a response to an overload of positive emotions when we see something that we find exceptionally cute. It's a kind of emotional regulation. The brain can only handle so much cuteness, and when we're overloaded, it tries to balance out these intense positive feelings with a burst of aggression. But it's important to note that this aggression is not violent or harmful. It's more like a playful squeeze or an urge to pinch chubby cheeks. Your favorite music might be tied to your teen years. If you find yourself frequently going back to the hits of your teenage years, you're not alone. Research suggests that the music we listen to during our formative years, particularly between the ages of 12 and 22, tends to hold a special place in our hearts for the rest of our lives. This period, often characterized by intense emotional experiences, social exploration, and identity formation, provides a fertile ground for music to leave an indelible impact. During adolescence, our brains are undergoing rapid development and are particularly sensitive to new experiences. This includes music, which can serve as a soundtrack to various milestones and memories, effectively becoming hardwired into our neural circuits. Additionally, the emotional intensity of the teenage years means that music heard during this time can trigger particularly strong emotional responses. Human faces in unlikely places. Ever seen a face in the clouds or a figure in the shadows? This phenomenon, known as pareidolia, refers to our tendency to find familiar patterns, especially faces, in random stimuli. This trait might stem from our social nature, prioritizing face recognition to the point of seeing them even where none exist. This phenomenon is not a mere figment of our imagination, but a vital part of our survival mechanism, deeply rooted in our evolution. Recognizing faces is critical to our social interactions, and our brains are specifically wired to prioritize face detection, sometimes even where none exist. The Pygmalion effect. Expectations shape reality. Expectations can be a self-fulfilling prophecy. The Pygmalion effect suggests that high expectations can actually lead to improved performance. This psychological principle illustrates how our beliefs about others can subtly influence their behavior, raising the bar for achievement. This psychological theory was famously studied in the 1960s in a school setting. Teachers were informed that certain students selected randomly were high achievers based on imaginary IQ test results. Over time, these high achievers began to perform better academically simply because their teachers had higher expectations of them. This proved that the teacher's expectations influenced the student's performance. The fallacy of long-term deadlines. Are you a master of procrastination, especially when it comes to long-term deadlines? You're not alone. Our brains are wired to prioritize immediate gratification, making short-term goals more appealing than long-term ones. That's why those distant deadlines seem to sneak up on us, turning what should have been a manageable project into a last-minute scramble. Long-term deadlines, although seemingly beneficial by offering ample time to complete tasks, often lead us into a cognitive trap known as the planning fallacy. The human brain is simply not wired well for long-term deadline management. With long deadlines, we often fall victim to procrastination, thinking we have plenty of time to start later. This results in a mad dash towards the end, scrambling to get everything done. That's because our brain is better at perceiving short-term deadlines, where the pressure is immediate and the end is clearly in sight. Therefore, when facing long-term deadlines, it's important to break down the task into manageable chunks, set intermediate deadlines, and regularly track progress. Adopting these strategies can trick our brains into treating long-term deadlines as a series of short-term ones, enhancing productivity and reducing last-minute stress. By understanding this fallacy, we can change our approach to planning and achieve better efficiency in completing tasks. Enjoyed this mental expedition? Share these intriguing insights with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating forays into the world of psychology. Don't miss our other captivating content. Check out our video library for more. Thank you for tuning in.